Do you love to talk on the phone? Or are you more like me and I hate talking on the phone? Or you hate meetings? Well, regardless, as a project manager, those are two things you're probably going to have to do. In project management, communication is paramount. It's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, that you'll do in your role as a project manager. Communication is about 90% of your role in project management. Hi, I'm Joseph Phillips, the Director of Education for Instructing.com, and in this video, we're going to talk all about communication. Communication is so important because it is how we share information with others. Communication doesn't mean just face-to-face, although that's one of the best ways, if not the best way, to communicate. We also have things like Zoom or web conferencing software. We have phone calls and emails and text messages. And then there's all that nonverbal communication, which we know is so important. Communication is the heart of project management. People, your stakeholders, are going to look to you to effectively communicate. So if you're not a good communicator, you want to take some time and learn how to be a better communicator, how to communicate more effectively one-on-one to your group and as a project manager. Communication is so important because of project stakeholders. A stakeholder is anyone that can affect your project, like your team, your customers, your sponsor. And it's also people who are affected by your project. So you think about all the stakeholders who may not necessarily be involved in the day-to-day working of your project, but certainly they're affected by the outcome of your project. Those are stakeholders, and those are people that we need to be speaking with. Notice it's speaking with, not speaking to, because communication is really two-way, that we want to have a conversation. One of the most important things that we do as a project manager is meetings. Now, if you know me, you know that I am not a fan of meetings, W-O-T, meetings, waste of time meetings. Meetings require us to have some thought, to have some upfront planning. So our meeting types affect how we communicate. So you think about your daily meetings, your stand-ups, your daily scrum, your weekly status meetings. Maybe you're doing some issue resolution meetings or planning. When we go into a meeting, we need to have a meeting agenda. The agenda really sets the framework for what we are going to accomplish. We think about who needs to be invited, what are we talking about, when is the meeting taking place, and why are we having this meeting? We also want to go into that meeting with a time-boxed idea. Time box being that this meeting is going to last for 30 minutes. So we're setting expectations, helps keep people on track during that meeting. Now we also want to have, especially in more formal meetings, minutes. This is where we have things like action items and outcomes that we share back with the participants. And then we need some rules. So we respect each other in the meeting. We don't let one person dominate the conversation, and we keep on track to that agenda, that we don't have all of these different sidebars and different conversations taking place, that we have a focus that's set by the meeting agenda. As you communicate, you want to develop a cadence. A cadence is a drum beat, if you will, a regular, anticipated type of communication. So we develop a cadence with our meetings, with our reports, with checking in with our team, and then those more informal meetings that are ad hoc conversations. Of course, there's not a cadence. You don't plan for ad hoc because that means just impromptu. But it's important to take advantage of a regularly scheduled communication. So if you do reports, that report comes out every Tuesday, and you can anticipate that. If you have meetings that happen once a week, you get on people's calendars and you anticipate it. So communication is so important. I want to leave you with this last thought, and that is the larger the project, the more complex communication is. Imagine if we had 10 or 12 people here in a circle, and we had a string running from me to every participant. And then the next participant had a string running from them to every participant and all the way around this circle. That would represent the communication channels. There's a little formula that's n times n minus 1 divided by 2. where N represents the number of stakeholders. So if we had 50 people in this big ring, you can imagine how complex all of those different strings would be, how messy that would be. So that formula, 50 times 49 divided by 2, would be 2,450 connections, 2,450 communication channels. So imagine your project that has 100 or 200 or 33. The more people you have, the more complex it gets. Even small projects can be complex with communication. The point of that formula isn't to show a little magic trick for the number of connections. It's to show you the number of opportunities for communications to fail. So if you want to be a better project manager, there's one thing that you can do every day to improve, and that's communicate more effectively in your projects. Thanks for checking in. Keep moving forward.